how many? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's 8 and 8. Okay. So after setting up everything, parenting them together, we need to divide the plane into 8. So control R. So 1, 2, so 4, 5, 6, 7, then 8. So control R. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so we now have our chessboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Then we're going to select the edges, the side. So say go to edge, press 2, alt click, then alt click. So selecting all the sides. Right click, um, extrude edges, something like this. Okay. Right click to let go, then scale. Okay, we need to scale it out like this. Okay. Then we are going to extrude it down. So extrude down to give it thickness. So press E, then down. Okay. Then we're going to select the top part. So go to faces. We're going to extrude it upwards. Okay. So press E to extrude. Okay. There you go. Let's press Control in object mode, Control A. Apply scale. Right. Then let's add a bevel modifier. So click bevel. Then add segments to make it smoother. Set the distance or amount. I think ito na yung sabad niya. Okay. So I think this will be okay. Right click smooth. Or shade auto smooth. Okay. Alright. Then we're going to add different materials to our chessboard. Okay. So if you want to have the chess pieces to be like with extruding bevels, if you want to, let's just hide the floor. Okay. So what we can do here is, let's say, on the top view, box select this. Okay, it doesn't select the top part. Then make sure that you go here and click on individual origins. Okay. Wait. Okay. Individual origins. Then, so this is individual. Right click. Extrude individual faces. So when you do that, you are going to push it up a little bit. Okay, push it up a little bit. Then scale like that. Okay, since this is individual, extruding individually, so each of the faces becomes the individual origin of each of the pieces. Okay, or faces, sorry. So yung faces, yan. Okay. So our chessboard will not look flat. Okay, so we can do something like that. Okay. Now, let me turn off. Okay. Now here's the issue. When you have more polygons to texture with, you need to like select each part of it. So anyway, let's go to shading. So go to shading, click the shading window. We're going to add materials. So dito sa materials tayo, okay? So we need to add a material. One is, you could either choose, let's say, black or brown. That depends on you. Okay, so let's say brown, a brown chessboard. Okay, Austin chocolate. When you bring down the roughness, then it becomes more prominent to look like a chocolate. So this material, we'll call it a frame. Okay, so let's call this the frame. So let's make it like a lighter yellowish beige brown, something like this. Okay, then let's add another material. So click plus, then click material yan. Tapos this will be white. So this is white. Bring the roughness down. It's the same as this one. When you see the shading, it's the same as this and this, yung left and right. So this is the same as this one. So let's bring the roughness down a bit. Then let's add the black pieces. So this will be black. Set the roughness down to 0.6, 1.6, 1.4. Okay. Then the next thing we're going to do is assign each color into our scene. Okay. So it would be, click this, shift click, shift click, shift click. Okay. Then click on white, then assign. Okay. Now, the problem that you would see now here is because we beveled it, the edges are not white. So you need to also select those edges for the bevel. Okay. Actually, I should have assigned the materials first before I beveled it, kasi whatever material you attach, then you bevel it, is part of the material also. So click on white, then assign. Okay. I'll bring the roughness down para very ano siya, and there you go, very shiny. Okay. It might look like a tile, but it's fine. Okay. Then I'll select this, this, and this, and this. Go to black, call it black. Then assign. Okay. So I also need to select the side faces. Okay. Assign. Black, then assign. Okay. May naiwan. So this part. Click the material, then assign. This part is not part of it, so here you go. Select this. Click black, assign. Okay. let me see. So, select one. Tapos, face. Select pala. Try natin checker select. So, select. Checker deselect. Click. Select. Checker. Lasso. Checker deselect. Okay. Let's see. Select this. Select. Checker deselect. Ayun yung problem nito. Kasi, I beveled it already. So, kaya mali na yung interpretation niya. Okay? Pero if we, like, do it, previews, if I go back, to make it simple, okay? Kasi what will happen is, isa-isahin nyo siya. Let me see. Sige, anyway, okay lang naman yun kasi practice. Para ma-practice kayo. Okay, so this now would become black. Okay, so this side is black. So, click on black, then assign. Click this, then it's white. So, this is white. Select white, assign. Okay. Let me see. Select inverse, try natin. Inverse select. Invert. Di lahat niya. Anyway, just add this here. So this is black. Okay, meron lang tayong gap. So, let me try. To grow, so select. There's like grow selection here. So, it's wala kasi akong numpad eh. Select more. More. Ayan, there you go. So, kung meron kayong numpad sa yung number pad, you can go to select, tapos select more, control, tapos numpad plus. Numpad plus. Yan. Okay? Control numpad plus. So, click black, then assign. Okay? So, what I'll do is select the blacks that I made. So, try ko lang to. Tapos, select more. More. Ayun, sinelect niya yung mga sides niya. Assign. Okay? So, I'll select this. Blacks. Okay? Then, select more. Assign. Then, let's go to white. Click on the whites. Holding shift while you select. Select more. Whites. Assign. Turn on the... Okay. Yeah. So, in the materials, if you think na parang mukhang kape siya masyado, you could make it darker. We want to adjust the roughness. Okay. Something like that. Okay. Then you can change, let's say, if you don't want black or white, you can change it to any color you like. So you can sample colors from this, okay? Or you want to have sort of textures on the board, then we have to it's going to be harder kasi it's going to be unwrapping everything. So mag-unwrap pa tayo. Okay. Late ano na lang siguro. Okay. Mm, let me see. It actually ruined the bevel. So subdivision. Let's adjust the bevel. Nasira yung cut dito. Point 001. Let's see. Two segments. Okay. Let's just make it 2 segments. Then let's adjust the bevel to 0.2. Kailangan hindi masira Okay, so 0.2. 0.02. Okay, with 2 segments. Okay. Then if you want to make the frame to look like wood, we would need to unwrap it. But we are not. We have not discussed unwrapping or UV unwrapping yet. So susunod na lang siguro. Okay? Kasi medyo complicated yung part na yan Okay? So ito na lang muna. Tapos let's so 1 2 3 4 5 6. Let's select the horse. Okay. We can create materials now for the pieces. So say this would be the chess underscore white or W. Okay. Then minus, then click plus. So chess underscore B or black. Okay. So if you want to have your chess pieces, so ano bang magandang kulay ng chess piece? Parang brown. Black, brown, brown, brown. Let me just go here, change my black to dark brown. Pwede na siguro yan. Okay. Bluish black. Okay. So, let's select the pawn. Okay. Then, click on the material here. Tapos, let's make it different na say black siya. Okay. If you add this and change it to say black. Yan. Tapos, you adjust the roughness down. then you put the metallic up, it becomes very metallic. Okay? Like that. Pero if you change, let's say I'll select the night tapos minus para mawala. Okay? Then if you want to change the color, let's say you want it look gold or copper or metal na gray or gray na metal. So if you want to make it look gold, so you could go around yellowish brown like that. So now you have gold. Okay. Then this, you can turn it into, if you want to make glass, so click new. Okay, so this would be, let's say, glass material. Pero ano ha, choose, ano lang, choose one or two, two materials lang for the chest pieces. Wag masyadong halo-halo. Okay? So this one, I'm going to change principled BDSF to glass BDSF. Okay? So as you can see, this now looks glass. The roughness, I'll turn it down. Okay? You can also click on the color if you want it to be like blue, say bluish, orange-ish. Okay? So let's say it's a bluish, let's say metal. If you put the roughness down, it really becomes very shiny. So you could have it like this. Okay? Turning this transparent would probably be, let's say, let me remove this. Tapos, I'll make another glass. So, glass underscore principled BDSF. Okay? So, here, I'll set my transmission up. Kung itatry natin gawing ano siya, shiny. Roughness down. Okay, so bring the roughness down. Then, screen space, refraction, 0.01. Then go to output properties, subsurface scattering, no. Screen space, reflections. Okay, turn it on. Then, let me see. Okay. Kasi when you have glass, it makes it look, yung refraction dapat medyo mas realistic when you're using EV. Okay, cycles kasi takes time eh. So, EV is okay naman yung EV. Ambient occlusion, turn it on. Make the distance higher. Say, higher in value. Okay, so okay lang yan. Click on refraction. Ayun, nagre-refract yung loob ng Yun siya. Okay, you can turn it off. Screen space, refraction. Tapos, dito sa screen space, alpha hashed and opaque. Okay. Medyo may pagka-hit and miss to. Alpha blend, alpha clip, alpha hashed. Okay. I'm going to put a copy nitong chest and try to put it behind it. So, dapat we can see through this. Screen space, opaque, alpha hashed. Screen space, refraction. Okay. Pag may refraction kasi medyo ano na siya. Okay. Transmission is 1. Kasi when you bring down the alpha, sorry. Transmission nito, yan, itong glass, transmission is up. Alpha, ano lang siya, nagiging invisible siya. Okay. With transmission up, alpha, hashed, screen space. Okay, let me just turn it off. Turn it on. Turn it back on, screen space. Okay. Now, sometimes, ewan ko lang, gagana ulit So, I'll just remove it. I'll add another one. Ulitin ko siya. Transmission. Roughness. Down. Okay. Alpha hashed. Yeah, alpha hashed. Na opaque. This one is hashed. Then shadow is opaque. Screen space 0.001. Okay, tapos punta tayo dito, screen space refraction. Hopefully it refracts. Okay. So yun. Let me just add a plane. Let me see if I can say rotate on X 90 degrees. So click on the material, click here on the materials, then glass BDSF. Okay. Point 0, 1. Okay. So, ito ang problema sa EV. Medyo mahirap pagganahin yung glass na see-through. Okay. Pero ano naman siya, nagwo-work naman siya, pero minsan, hindi siya gumagana. So, anyway. So, it looks like glass naman. So, I think it's fine. Okay. So, you can have, let's say, glasses or frosted glasses. Okay, pag frosted siya, the roughness will be higher. Okay? You can have another metal. So, let's say, this is aluminum. So, aluminum. Then, just bring the roughness down. Okay? So, the principal BDSF is a material node that when you mix together different settings could create so many materials. Okay? So, it simplified the material properties into base color, subsurface color, metallic, specular, roughness, sheen, clear coat, and transmission. Pero yung gamit na gamit dito sa atin is metallic. So, if the metallic of a particular material is turned off, this now looks like a marble or yung plastic or marble, shiny plastic. We just change the color. Okay. So, yan. Okay. So, mukha siyang plastic. Okay. But if we bring the metalness or metallic properties, it turns it into something metal. So, if we change the base color, bring it up, let's say, to the grayish. Okay, so somewhere around the middle, tapos it's grayish. So, now you have a sort of aluminum type material. So, this is very shiny, so the roughness is 0. But when you put the roughness up, so it actually shows the metal property of the object. Then if you push it up, it actually makes it dull. Okay, so even if we have the metallic up, when the roughness is so high, the property of its being metal is actually not showing. So you're killing the metalness of the object. So Pag mas shiny siya, mas mukha siyang bago. Okay? So this looks gold. Gold are usually not so shiny, so we can have something like this. You can shine brass. You can make brass look very shiny, so it's possible. So we have glass, then we have aluminum, okay? Then let's say the horse, okay? This one, let's say it's concrete, okay? Say color, tapos gray, okay? Yan siya. Tapos we can bring the roughness up ng konti to make it look concrete. Okay, we can select also the eye. Click on the materials, then concrete. Click here, then concrete. Okay, so if you make it shiny, the roughness when you bring it down, yan. So it makes it look like a plastic or a marble. Okay, when you add in some sort of metallic property to it, then it becomes something else. So you can change it with whatever color you like. Okay. Ang problem natin when we work digitally is the colors are limitless. So, ang hirap mamili, right? So, yun. So, you could either choose to have yung glass if you want to. Okay. Pero when you render it kasi like the metal actually stands out more. Okay, so I'll just use I'll use na lang the other. So, okay. So this is I'll change this to gold. Gold material. Okay. Then this would be aluminum. Okay. So you can duplicate certain parts if you want to. Okay. So the horse, I'll just turn it also into gold. Okay. So click again, tapos gold, click, then gold. Ayan. Okay. So you could like have your horse look or rotate to look like this para mas pogi siya. You can also make the horse the center of your piece kasi siya yung pinakamahirap gawin. 'Di ba? Siya yung pinakamahirap gawin. Okay? So let me just bring the floor. Okay? Set up your scene. Okay? Then put the taller pieces behind it. Okay? Pwede naman siyang hindi, like, as in naka-exact dun sa kanyang mga pieces. Okay? So, let's say I'll make everything the same na lang. Okay? So, gold. I'll make it gold na lang. Okay? Lahat ng pieces ko gold. So, the taller items would be here. Bring it down. Okay? Make sure that the chess pieces are really standing on the base kasi baka mamaya nakalutang. Okay? So you can have your layout like this, RZ the horse, para ano, like, kung maganda yung pagkakagawa nyo dun sa knight nyo, di ba? Pag malaki nyo siya. So, set up nyo yung layout. Okay? Then, the pawn would be somewhere around here. Tapos the rook. Okay? RZ. Bring the queen closer. Let me remove this one para may space. Okay, so something like this, you can do a layout like this. Okay, save it. Now, if you like render this, click render, so render image. Okay, then you wait for it. See? Ang daming patong-patong, right? Kasi yung hinide natin na mga materials is we can still see them on render view. Yung cameras dito are what you call the render view. Okay? So, I'm recording. Okay. Dun sa OBS. So, yung ibang items dito, i-hide natin. Okay? Itong mga, since turn on naman yung mga items ko, ang hahanapin ko ngayon is yung mga naka-hide. Okay? Tapos, i-off ko yung view on render. Okay? So, like, itong collection na to, si Kinger, knight, itong knight na to, the bishop, okay, ito yung knight, so, okay, hide natin to, yung collection. Let's render again to see if nalinis natin yung view. Okay, so this item, the bevel that we have, yung cube, hide natin. Okay? So, in order for us to see kung nasan yung camera natin, we need to turn on our camera. So, let's look for the camera. So, here's the camera. Okay, where's the camera? Oh, there you go. So, here's the camera. Okay, so in order for us to be able to control the cameras the way we move in our space like this, we need to turn on view and view to camera to view. Okay, you need to turn this on, camera to view. Okay, then click this toggle camera so that when you move, okay, you're moving with your camera. Okay, so the layout that you are the what you move, how you move on your space is how your camera would leave, kung paano siya magle-layout. Okay? So, something like this. And something like this. We turn on magnet face project. Volume. Try natin volume. Okay. Right? So, N, press N. As in letter N. Okay? So, if you're done with the layout, check out. So, i-off nyo itong camera to view. Okay? I'm going to rotate this again and make sure to make it look very pogi. Okay? Sayang naman yung pinaghirapan kung hindi makikita yung horse. Okay? Then, naka-off na yung camera to view ko. So, yung camera ko is naandito na. Okay? Naandyan na siya. So, when you go to render image, make sure to save. Okay? So, our scene is kind of dark. So, what we need to do now is add an environment. Okay? Remember, what you see here on the shading mode is not what the render view actually sees. Okay? So, we only have like one light. So, it has only this light. Okay? So, ito lang yung nag-iisang light dito. Yan. Okay? So, in order for our render to look good, we're going to add an HDR, which is in the world. So, if you remember what we did with the living room, we're adding an HDR. So, let's search for an HDRI. So, you could get an interior or a studio type na view or HDR. Let's say indoor, and you want it to be parang medyo warm. Okay? Huwag naman yung Pasko. Warm reception. So, gold yung kulay ko, so magdidilaw pa siya mas lalo. So, probably photo studio na lang. Itong photo studio. Then, EXR1, then download. Then, make sure to remember where you put your HDR. So, I'll put this on my chess. Okay? My chess folder. So, in the color, click the dot, tapos environment texture, open, then go to desktop. Okay, wait for it to load. Then chess. Brown Photo Studio HDR. So there you go. Okay, so we have now the view of our HDR. Now, if you want to, let's say, gusto mong iikot, gusto nyo iikot yung HDR, so you can go here, click here, tapos, dito sa object, then go to world. Okay, click on world. So we have here now the EXR, the background, and the world output. If we want to like choose a different view of the HDR, okay, so we can rotate the HDR. So what you do is go to edit, preferences, and make sure that your node wrangler is turned on. Okay, so edit, preferences, add-ons node, Wrangler is turned on. Okay. So click on the image, which is this one, Control T. Okay. So after Control T, so it's Control plus D. Okay? While selecting this, lalabas yung mapping nito. Okay? So, click on your camera view. Then, dito sa mapping, we have here the mapping, the rotation, and location. So, what we're going to rotate is the, we'll move the rotation. So, let's move the Z, which is up. So, you could rotate your maps and choose kung anong mas gusto nyo na view. Okay? Saan nyo gusto nang gagaling yung light? Okay? Is it sa window or somewhere else? Okay? In this case kasi, the light is coming from the window. So, click on the camera. So, ito yung parang view nung aking layout. Okay? So, yun. Alright? So, then after that, okay, I'm going to see muna a bit occlusion. Okay? Then, just adjust muna. This one. Holy crap! It crashed. That's why you need to save. Always save. Ayan. Oh my God. Okay. So, render view. I think it's the render that caused the crash. So, anyway. Alam niya kasi pipindutin ko na yung render eh. Kaya nag-ano siya. Nag-crash siya bigla. Okay. Let me just select the light. The only light that I have here, I'm going to remove this because I don't really need it. Okay. So, search for the light. I'll just turn it off. And let's see. Okay. Save. Okay. Bloom. If you want some sort of like bloom on your scene, parang blurring ng konti. Do you see that? And so bloom, can add some sort of threshold to it. So, say, and medyo nagiging hazy siya pag mababa. So, konti lang. Just a bit. Okay. Konti adjust me and radius on off. Kasi yung bloom makes the light parang nagbo-bounce siya ng light onto the camera. Okay. So, something like that. So, save ulit. Control S. Render. Render image. Basta magsisave kayo. Yun lang naman yun. Okay. So, yeah. Ito na siya. When you're done, diba? Pag nakita na, wow, pogi. In-sculpt yung night. Diba? Image. Save as. Then, go to your folder. So, render 1. Okay? Or render chess piece. So, there you go. Okay? So, that's 1. Let me see if I could try the DOF. Yung depth of field. Let me see. I forgot how to do that. Ito, depth of field. So, threshold, then noise. So we need the camera for this eh. Okay. Let's see. Wait, let me check muna. I forgot how to do DOF. DOF kasi of depth of field makes your renders look
to display the keys pressed in Blender.
Okay, depth of field, Blender.
In this video, I will show you how to use depth of field in Blender, and this works the same in both the Cycles and Eevee rendering engines. So I just set up this basic scene here with a ground plane and some lighting and these monkey heads, and I also added my procedural scratched plastic material on the monkey heads. If you'd like to watch the procedural scratched plastic tutorial, I'll have the links in the description. So the first thing you need to do is make sure you have a camera. So just press Shift A, and you can go right down here and add a camera. And if you'd like to learn how to move the camera around and just learn more about how to use the camera in Blender, I also have a tutorial specifically on how to use the Blender camera, links in the description to that. So once you've added the camera, just make...
Wait, let me change the share.
Make sure you select the camera. So if the camera is selected, you can now go over to the object data properties on the camera. And this is going to show you the camera settings. So then you can just open up the depth of field settings. And I'm just going to click on this to turn it on. Now you can just change the focus distance, and that's going to determine where it's going to focus on. So you can see as I drag it out, it's going to focus more on those monkey heads farther away, or I can drag it in. But this is kind of hard to know exactly where the camera is focusing on. So I prefer to use the focus on object. So you can just click right here and you can just start to type in the name of the object, but I prefer to instead just click right here on the eyedropper, and then you can just select the object. So now to change the amount of blur, you can change the f-stop. So if you turn the f-stop to a very small number, you can see that it's just focusing on that monkey head, but everything else is very blurred. But if you turn the f-stop value up, then much more things are going to be in focus. And you can see the background is a bit blurred, but a lot more things are in focus, especially these monkey heads, which are closer up. And just like most values in Blender, you could also animate this value. So you could animate the f-stop value if you were doing some sort of animation and you wanted to change the amount of blur. And speaking of animation, let's say you wanted to move where the blur was in the scene during an animation, but you don't want to actually move this object. Well, what you can do is you can press Shift A and you can go right down here, and I like to add an empty plane axis. And these empties, you're not able to see them in the rendered view, but you're able to see them in the 3D viewport. So I'm just going to select the camera again, and I'm going to click on the X here, and then I will click on the eyedropper, and I'm going to click on the empty. So I can now press G to grab, and that's going to move the empty, and then I can press Shift Z, and that way it's not going to be moving on the Z axis, but it will move on the X and Y axis. And now you can see that I can bring it over there, it's going to focus on the red monkey, or I can bring it over there and it's going to focus on the purple monkey. So you could just do some simple animation with this empty, and then that will change where the camera is going to focus on. And that's it. So that is how you set up depth of field.
Okay, so that's how I set up depth of field. Okay, wait, let me try. Okay. So make sure that you have like a full render of all the material, of all the pieces. Okay. Then you can click here, let's say a new scene. Let's say copy. Let me see, full copy of the scene. Okay. So this is scene and this is scene 001. Let's just call it scene 2. Okay, yung isa is scene 1. Okay, so click this, then scene 1. The reason why we do this is if you want to do adjustments on your scenes. Let's say for example, may render sa first ko, gusto ko ganito. So I'll make a copy of my scene. Okay, so full copy gagawin ko. Then you will make a copy, now that's scene 2. So what I will do now is apply the DOF. So I could try and make the horse look majestic in a way. So para yung focus ng camera is na andito lang sa horse, then the rest of the pieces are medyo out of focus. Okay? So ganon. Okay? So we just okay. Okay. Always save para hindi umiyak. Alright, so click the camera. So camera, then camera settings. So it's here. You will see the camera settings if you click your camera, okay? Camera settings, then depth of field. Okay, let's go look at the camera, okay? Then let's activate view, camera to view. Then let's focus ng konti. Then I want the focus to be on the horse and adjust the f-stop to be lower. Okay? So yung mga ganito na layout for mga beauty shots, yun, it's called a beauty shot. Okay? Magagamit nyo to lagi sa mga product design or commercial, if you're doing commercial 3D, okay, 3D products design or product animation. So the DOF is very, very helpful. So, okay. So you can have like one item to be in focus, the rest are not. So you can have this to be, let's say, somewhere far in the distance. So it's a bit distant para mas prioritize yung, para makita yung, yung blur. Okay. Okay. So it's like showing or telling na I'm not the night is the important piece. Some sort. So if you've seen you've seen certain product commercials and stuff. Yan, yung mga ganyan, 'di ba? So yun. So let's click the camera. Adjust the f-stop. Okay. It's too blurred. Yan. So if you want to focus on only the night, okay, Shift D para ma-balance natin yung okay. Turn off camera to view. Let's see. Okay. Click on camera. Camera to view. Let me see if I can change this is the focal length. So, if we make the focal length, let's say 25, this becomes like parang siya, distorted siya in a sense because 25 mm is for wide shots. Let me see. Shot type, shot lens. Difference. Okay, yung focal length. Let me adjust ng yung percent focal length.
Understanding focal length is an important part of how to tell your story, whether it's through photos or videos. For example, a photo taken at 17mm will make your photo look larger than
life and have a surreal look, while a photo taken at 28mm will look a bit more natural and true to life.
So in this video, I'll teach you all about focal lengths and which scenarios you'll want to use those specific focal lengths in. Before we get into it, if you haven't already, I highly recommend that you check out my video on sensor size and crop factor because the size of your camera sensor does have a direct impact on which focal lengths you'll be using. Okay, so first, what is focal length? Or better yet, what does it do? In the simplest terms, focal length is a measurement of how wide...
Can you hear the audio? Do you hear it? Okay.
how tight your field of view is.
And focal length is measured in millimeters, so the smaller the number, the wider the angle. The larger the number, the tighter the angle.
All right, so first let's talk about 16 millimeters, or in my case, it's gonna be 17 millimeters because that's the widest my lens will go, but this is considered ultra wide. This is gonna give you an ultra wide field of view, so you're gonna capture a ton in your frame. And this can make your shots look very immersive and very grand. I like to use this focal length for POV shots where I wanna get up close to my object, and it can make your audience feel like they're with you wherever you're at.
It's also a great focal length for vlogging because you can hold your camera at an arm's distance and still capture yourself and a few other subjects in your frame. You can also use it for some experimental portraits at high or low angles, and you can have your subject put their hand in front of the frame, and it will have this really unique distorted look that you can't get with other focal lengths. Another instance can be for real estate photography and videography because it will allow you to capture the entire room, for example. All right, next let's talk about 24 to 28 millimeters, which these are going to be considered standard wide angle lenses. I would consider this a great focal length for documenting everyday life because you can capture your subject and also a ton of the environment in the background to give your photo some context. And it's not going to have as much distortion or that fisheye look that your ultra wide lenses will have, but it'll still be wide enough to capture your subject and a ton of the environment in the background. And if you have an iPhone, for example, the main 1x lens is going to be a 26 millimeter lens, so I can give you a better idea of what that focal length will look like. And in my opinion, it's just a perfect point and shoot everyday focal length. Next focal length is 35 millimeters, which is still considered a wide angle lens.
This is a really popular focal length for street photography because you can walk around, take some quick shots, and it's not too wide that your photo will feel too zoomed out, but it's also not too tight where you're not going to get enough in your frame. This is also a fun focal length for filming mini documentaries because if you take a couple steps back, you can still show your subject and their environment and still having some separation from your background, or you can take a couple steps closer and get more of a detail shot.
Next up is 50 millimeters, which this focal length is equivalent to the field of view that our eyes actually see. So this is a great focal length if you want a natural, real-world field of view, and to me it really shines if you want to take portraits. And set your aperture to something like an f2.8 or wider, and you'll get some nice background blur and really isolate your subject in your frame.
And for video, this can be really nice if you need a close-up shot of your subject, and it can really separate your subject from the background to make them pop.
Next up is 70 to 200 millimeters, which these are considered telephoto focal lengths. And on the wider side of telephoto lenses, like an 85 millimeter lens, this is also great for taking portraits and really separating your subject from your background. And anything past that, like 200 millimeters or more, is great if you want to capture subjects that are at a far distance, like surfing, for example. And lastly, let's talk about compression and background blur, because your focal length actually has a huge difference on that.
I took the same portrait at various focal lengths so you can compare the differences. First noticeable difference in focal lengths is facial distortion. The wider the lens, the more distorted faces look, and the tighter the lens, the less facial distortion you'll get. Next, comparing 24 and 35 millimeters, another difference you'll notice is how the tighter the focal length, the more compression, which basically means as you zoom in more, your background will look closer, aka more compressed. Next, comparing the 35 and 50 millimeter, another key difference you'll notice is in background blur. All shots were taken at f2.8, but the tighter the lens, the more background blur there will be. Lastly, comparing 17 and 70 millimeters, you can really see a huge difference with all the factors I mentioned before, like facial distortion, compression, and background blur.
Okay. So sa 17, there's facial distortion talaga. Humahaba yung mukha natin. Okay? So, wait. Let me show you. Shot lens. Sino sa inyo may experience na sa photography? Anyone? Oh, yan, si Tony. Good. Patricia. So, you have an idea about the shot lenses na. Okay? Tsaka yung f-stop. It's the same thing that we can apply in 3D. Okay? Especially if you're doing product shots. Okay? So, let me just get this muna. Okay? Yung GIF. How it actually affects the lens. Okay? So, yung itsura natin. So, 70, nagpa-flatten tayo. Sa 24, medyo distorted. 50 is good. 60 pataas, medyo nagpa-flatten tayo. Okay? So, yan yung a reason why you need to understand shot lenses and f-stop. Okay? So, ito yung So, when you look at it, okay, yun, na-distort yung itsura ng mukha natin. Pababa na shot lens, tapos, yung f-stop ay mataas. So, ganun siya. Okay? So, pag nilapit natin siya, gusto nyo i-focus yung horse, parang trophy style, parang ganun gusto nyo. Okay? Kasi ganyan siya. Okay. Gusto ko ma-emphasize yung yung blur ng background eh. So, RZ. Wait, sa kabila natin ikot. Para maarte. Yan. Yan. Maarte yung niya. Okay? So, para siyang award. Okay? So, something like this. Tapos, click on the camera. F-stop is 0.05. Taas natin ng konti. Para hindi naman, kailangan ma-blur ng konti yung likod para ang focus na andito sa horse natin. Okay? Tapos, what can we do? Wait, let me just, kasi parang siya eh. Okay. Click on the camera. Na-blur masyado yung eh. Taas natin konti. So if you want to make the background blurred, then itutulak natin yung mga nasa likuran para medyo mas siya, mas mag-blur siya. Kasi if we force the f-stop to be lower, let's make it lower. Then the camera is, let's say, set to 50. Okay. So, click to camera view. Yan. Medyo flat siya. That's why I chose to use 20. Or let's say, let's click on 17. Para mas lumayo siya. Oh, ang taray oh. Oh. Ah? Taray. Okay. 17. Let's make it 20. Medyo masyadong maarte. Yan. Ganyan siya. Okay. Then let's bring the f-stop. Lagyan natin yung queen, labas natin konti. Okay. Click on the camera again. Okay. Let's, wait, let me just try and sculpt the horse and give it a slight grin. Grab. Just for that, wait. Ayun lang. Tapos ibabalik ko ulit. Tapos render. Ayan siya. So, medyo blur siya. So, let me do it again. Adjust lang tayo ng, so, click camera. Tapos, camera settings. Go to object mode. Hindi gagana yung ano. Camera. Okay. $20, 17, 20. Okay. Okay, yung 1.3 I think would be okay. Pero let me just push this. Tulak ko lang siya. Mas malayo. Para mas mag-blur. Tapos render. Okay. So, view, camera to view. Okay. Render image. Okay. Then image, then save. Save as. So render to. Okay. So when you're done, you could upload this also. Okay. So when you push the objects, it's going to really look much blurry. Okay. So mas malayo siya. It's going to be much blurry. Okay. So let me just readjust what I did with the mouth. Render again. Medyo blurred siya. Okay. Layo ako ng konti. Ayan. Okay na to. Save. I can save this also. Render 3. You could render as many as you want if you want to. Okay? So, yun. Okay? So, for now, we need to finish the materials and rendering. Okay? So, I think you could do the chessboard muna. Okay? Let me just upload the video.